Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I haven't done any response videos before, and I don't expect I'll be doing too many in the future either. But I can't let this stand. I became aware of this video because of a boosted post on Minds. So let's just jump into it, shall we?
During the Peloponnesian War, the ancient Greek state of Athens was at war with Sparta, and in between there was a neutral country called Milos. Milos wanted to remain neutral, but Athens gave them an ultimatum to surrender. Milos, they sent their philosophers, their diplomats, try to debate. They try to use reason. They try to convince them why this was immoral. The famous Greek rhetoric and dialogue, it didn't work. So Milos, they came up with this, basically a famous saying that the strong do as they can, the weak suffer what they must. Milos decided to fight. They tried to avoid it, but it didn't help, and they were destroyed. Every man was executed by the Athenians. The women were raped, taken into slavery, and so were the children. Debate and reason have their place. They're part of the reason for the success of Western civilization. But reason and debate only works when your opponent and you have basically the same goal, meaning the help of your people. If your opponent wants to destroy you, there is no advantage to debate.
We hope that you, instead of thinking to influence us by saying that you did not join the Lacedaemonians, although they're colonists, or that you have done us no wrong, will aim at what is feasible, holding in view the real sentiments of us both, since you know as well as we do that right, as the world goes, is only in question between equals in power, while the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. This is the full quote, or rather the translated summary of the statement. Seems to me it's clearly showing a refusal to listen to reason or discuss, and a complete disregard for what is right or wrong based on the inequality between those involved. What's more, it's quite obvious that Athens had far more power than Milos. If Athens had been sending somebody to Milos to debate related matters, that would make no sense as a reason to refuse debate, preferring conflict. The main thing here has to do with who is really in control and the disproportionate power, which makes me wonder where you're going with this.
So here are 5 reasons why it's a waste of time to debate with the left. Number 1, using debate to try to establish a neutral position does not work. As Milos discovered, you're still seen as the enemy and you will still be destroyed.
Well, I'm not really sure how you would establish a neutral position through debate. What would you be debating, whether or not you're secretly on a given side? If someone won't believe that you aren't their enemy, then it would probably be pretty difficult to convince them with a debate. But why are you an enemy? Who's wanting to destroy you? The left would be an entire side of the political spectrum, approximately half of all possible positions. The left could also mean everyone to the left of some positions, so potentially everyone not on some extreme right could be declared the left. It might even be possible for you to be part of the left to someone. Surely you don't think everyone with half of all possible political views automatically wants to destroy you, do you?
Number 2, we will not secure the survival of our people through debate. Debate is pointless.
Survival of your people? So now the left, whatever that means to you, does not just consider you or your ideas an enemy to be destroyed, but wants outright genocide? And debate is pointless? But didn't you just say...
Debate and reason have their place. They're part of the reason for the success of Western civilization.
That seems like a point. But maybe you just meant that it's pointless here. So what are those other 3 reasons?
Debating with your enemies shows weakness. Debate, pleading, negotiation, those are all feminine qualities. They're not strength. Do you think Genghis Khan debated his enemies? No, he did not. Debating is useless.
Genghis Khan. Is that your role model now? Because this really isn't sounding like the left is the aggressors and you've just decided debate is pointless and you need to overpower them. It sounds a lot like you want to create an empire and destroy anyone you disagree with. It sounds like you're suggesting that you're Athens, the one in control, the aggressor in the situation, and the one looking to destroy. From that angle, it wouldn't be that debate was pointless. Athens had no need for debate, and Milos wasn't set out to destroy them.
Debating with your enemy is a total waste of time. You're not going to change their opinion. They want you dead. They want you eliminated. You can't come up with a fancy argument to change their point of view or what they want to do to you. It's wasting your time that could be devoted to other activities.
Nobody is trying to kill you when they try to debate. The people who don't agree with you don't want you eliminated, they just don't agree. They might want rid of your ideas, but that's nowhere near the same as trying to kill you for disagreeing with them. Why don't you come back to reality before you do something that you can't fix? As far as being able to devote time to other activities, sure, go ahead and focus on something else if that's what this is about. If discussing these things isn't what you want to do with your time, you don't have to. But don't discourage those who do want to have a productive conversation just because you don't feel like you can get anywhere.
The left has criminalized and has used violence to shut down free expression of debate. They don't want debate, don't give them debate. Use our message for our people. If you play on their terms, they will just harm you, they will kick you off platforms, they'll suspend you on Twitter. Have nothing to do with them. Ignore them, do not debate the left.
I don't know for sure where you live, but your channel's About page says the United States. While violence is another story, I assure you, free expression and debate is not criminal here in the US. It is very much protected from legal consequences. And if your message can only stand up when it's used on people who already agree, that would explain why you think you should resort to violence yourself. Oh, and there's a world of difference between the types of harm you've been discussing in the rest of the video, killing people, eliminating, wiping out an entire population, and losing your platform. Whether people should be kicked off of Twitter or other platforms or not, having to find somewhere else to speak is hardly going to kill anyone. So that was where the video ended. I'm not sure if his train of thought just went off the rails and all of that was part of reason 2, or if he forgot to count off the last 3 reasons. That's not where this ends, though, because the video on its own would almost seem harmless. Sure, it's out there discouraging communication, promoting bad ideas, generalizing, and declaring dissenters to be the enemy. And that should definitely be enough. After all, it has been when it's come from so-called SJWs. But it goes beyond that. There was a link in the description as well. Now, I'm not going to read the entire page linked, especially since a lot of it's similar to the statements of the video. The link will be in the description, and I'll put the text on the screen. But I do want to point out a few of the things it said. For example, remaining neutral like our political moderates does not work. So, they don't even attempt to pretend to be moderate. This is interesting, since it seems like they're looking down on those who don't migrate to the extreme. It's also important to recognize that this isn't representative of everyone who disagrees with, or even dislikes, the left. Maybe it sounds stupid to point this out, since it should be obvious already right now, but I wish people would have acknowledged similar all along for the last several years while criticizing ideas that come from parts of the left. The next thing is expressed repeatedly here. To them, debating is for the weak, and those who disagree must be forced into submission or destroyed. After that, because it just wouldn't be complete without insults, the left is outright insulted before claims are made that the left needs debate and will destroy itself if those opposing it just step aside, while they can grow stronger by not wasting their time. Finally, it concludes by insisting on a caricature of the left where no honest debate can occur. After insisting for the majority of the page that force is the way to go and all who refuse to bend to their will be removed, it ironically complains about the left having allegedly used the government to destroy those who oppose them. Even more ironically, it claims, quote, their idea of conversation is a one-way re-education, end quote. It finishes up by shifting the blame from those who use violence to the left, stating, when violence comes to them, it will be entirely their fault. But even that isn't the end of the story. Whether the rest of this shows an environment that created this video and webpage, or those things created this environment. There is more. That boosted post on Minds that alerted me to its existence said to just kill people on the left because they've surrendered their lives to the Jews who plan their deaths anyway. Do I even need to say anything to this? I don't think I do, and unfortunately I can't find that post again to include a link. So, now I'll move on to the YouTube comments. This is why it's pointless to discuss racial matters with blacks. You're not going to convince them that it's better for whites and blacks to have their own countries separate from each other. No, their aim is to parasitize white countries until that is no longer viable, then replace the original white inhabitants. Debate is a substitute for violence. After violence has begun, debate becomes pleading. So, if anyone commits violence and believes in a given idea, nobody should debate anyone supporting that idea again? Oh, look! Someone's being somewhat reasonable. What about if a non-committed person is watching? And, of course, just make sure you don't dignify anything a Democrat says, because that's all they want, for you to show that you're stupid enough to think they care about anything that comes out of their mouth. Moderates will join whatever mob is the biggest pain in the ass, so if you're using logic and the Democrat is flinging shit, the moderates will feel like they're a bigger pain in the ass, and you lose no matter how good your argument is. In-fucking-credible. The left are basically children who will come up with any yeah but, or will even lie to win an argument. The only way to deal with petulant children is to punish them, as trying to give them a stern talking to will do nothing in the long run. Hear that, guys? If someone acts like an angry, unreasonable child, you shouldn't tell them off, and you definitely shouldn't try to be reasonable or bring them back to reality or calm them down. No, the correct answer is to punish them for it, apparently. I'm sure that will improve anyone's attitude. Take away women's rights. It's the only way to ensure survival of our civilization, of our country, of our race. Come on, that's just a troll, right? Nobody says things like that, right? Pro-whites have to win the propaganda war and take power. It is correct that you don't debate anti-whites, but that doesn't mean you shoot them in the head. It means that you discredit and humiliate anti-whites and the anti-white system. Power goes to the group that controls public opinion. Anti-whites are in power now because they control the public opinion, largely by calling people names like racist. Those anti-white terms have to be discredited. Their legitimacy has to be destroyed in the eyes of the masses. After we've won the propaganda war, a white person will have the same attitude towards being called racist that they would have to being called witch or heretic. Do I really need to continue? Seriously. These comments speak for themselves. But I'm sure these aren't things people really think. They're just trolls. Or people are just joking, or whatever. Because obviously this kind of thing isn't real and believed by anybody. Except, of course, I've been seeing stuff like this for quite a while. Years, in fact. The main difference is that this example includes the main media, video in this case, and the page for that matter, as well as the conversation following it. I don't tend to follow extremists of any stripe, so usually when I've seen it before, it's been the people expressing their anger at the main piece that wound up saying such things. Or sometimes it's been just outright trolls. Oh, and of course that page from the description, it isn't new. It's from 2015. Thanks for hearing me out. As always, civil discussion, suggestions, and constructive criticism are welcome in the comments or via social media. Feel free to rate, comment, and share. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe and click the bell for notifications. And check out the description for any sources that I use.